What's good, everybody? Hope you guys are doing good. So we are back today for another video. I know it's been a while, been kind of busy taking care of some adult things, but we are back. Look, sometimes you're gonna have a down week. It's gonna happen, but hopefully going forward, this is one step to fix the down week, and hopefully the video will be up in an hour or so, or it will be up tonight once I get off work. So that's the plan. And before we begin, this is my Twitter page. In case you guys are not aware, I do use Twitter very actively on there. I'll suggest you follow here if you want finance updates, things about minimalism, self-improvement. This is a good place to start. And if you have a message, send me a message. I respond pretty quickly to that. And once I get my dividend payments, I show you guys here just so you guys can see how dividends work. And throughout the day, if I see stock news or something I want to share with you guys, I put it here. So really easy, just click follow and that's it. All right, now let's begin. Alright guys, so it has been a crazy week. I'm sure everyone is aware. However, just how crazy has it been? Well, they've been talking more about the next stimulus package. They've been talking about what's been going down with all of the craziness, as you guys know, and how that's going to be affecting the elections coming up. That could play a huge role in terms of who gets elected, what kind of policies we're going to have to deal with. Now, I was working on a video about Trump's tax plan and Biden's tax plan. It will probably be the next video coming out, but that video has taken longer than I'd expected. There's just a lot of little details here I want to cover so you guys have a good idea what we have to look forward to in the upcoming months, because right now the elections are really not that far away, guys. We're almost end of August. In a couple months we're going to start having votes come in, all that good stuff. Anyways, where do we currently stand with this next stimulus check, potentially, if we're going to get it? Well, we know that our leaders are still on recess. They're doing their thing, they're chilling, and they're probably going to be back in about a week or so. I have the exact date in one of these tabs in a minute. Alright, so let's go over this really quickly, see what we have to look forward to in the next upcoming weeks. Second stimulus check payment. How quickly could the IRS send you money? Estimate how much faster you might receive a second stimulus payment compared to the first if a new bill is passed. Yes, that's if a bill is passed. At this point in time, we still have a lot of uncertainty. Now here we go. Okay guys, get your calendars out, get your whiteboards out. You're gonna need it. Okay, when could the second stimulus check go out? So the original CARES Act was passed March 25th by the Senate, March 26th by the House. Date signed was March 27th. First check was sent April 15th. So almost a month later. That's the timeline. Now, the final bill, if negotiated and Senate passes it, let's just say September 8th, House passes it on the 9th, President signed on the 10th. The first checks could be sent on September 21st because these guys come back on September 8th. That's assuming they come back and they get it together and they pass another check, if that's the plan. Now, it looks like the earliest date would be September 21st. And if it doesn't get done in time, it looks like the week of September 28th would potentially be the next time frame we get. So it looks like a month or so. Whatever situation you're going through, you got to have at least a month planned, because if these checks come or don't come, you got to plan regardless. You don't know, and don't be in that spot where you have to rely on a check to come in just to make it by. Figure out something, get it together, and try to diversify it as much as you can. Okay, which group would get a second check first? That's a good question. The first group, the IRS sent the first batch of checks to people who had filed 2018 or 2019 tax returns and had already provided the IRS with their direct deposit information. So there you go. If you had filed 2018, 2019 and you had direct deposit, that was the best way to get it. People I talked to, it seemed like that was the pattern. They had filed their tax returns for 2019 or 2018 and they had direct deposit already set up, which made it pretty easy for them. Alright guys, my bad. I had to check on something that happened in the background. Alright, let's continue here. So second group. The next group were Social Security beneficiaries who had direct deposit information on file with federal agencies. About 80 million people got their checks through direct deposit in the first week they were disbursed, according to the IRS. The third group, paper checks didn't start getting mailed out until about a week later to people who hadn't signed up for direct deposit, but you could still register for electronic transfer as late as May 13th. That's one thing that I did. I didn't have direct deposit set up on mine. However, once I set it up, I got a check pretty quickly, so that was nice. Now the fourth group, the first economic impact payment debit cards, which are prepaid, began going out in mid-May to about 4 million people. Basically, it looks like the same pattern that they had that first check. It's going to be the same thing, the second check. That's based off of the information we have here. Why your second check could arrive later than someone else's. Changes to aid for dependents, banking status, just a few reasons why you might not get it on time, how you can get more help. The IRS website, when it's working, it's good, but when it's not working, it's a pain. But hopefully, if you need a check, at that point in time, it's working and it's not completely overfilled, people trying to check at the same time, and thus causing it to potentially crash. When's the latest date you could receive another check? The IRS will have sent about 200 million checks by the time the agency is done distributing the first draft of payments. The total US population is over 330 million. The majority of those were sent at the beginning of June, though the IRS said it will continue to send payments to the end of the year. Okay, so there you have it. That's kind of where the check stands at the moment. Pelosi says Democrats are not budging as second stimulus gridlock wears on. Okay, let's play a little game here. Do you guys think that the issues that were plaguing this thing earlier, months prior when I was covering this, are the same or did they change? I'm going to give you guys a hint. Probably the same issues. Alright, here we go. So here's some key facts, because we just want the facts. Let's get to the facts. We're not budging, she said, adding that the White House is just going to have to come up with more money. It's the latest iteration of an ongoing blame game between top Democrats and Trump administration officials, as each accuses the other of being unwilling to make a deal. Democrats passed their opening offer of the $3 trillion HEROES Act in May. The GOP's proposal, released in July, was a third that size. There we go. So Democrats have said that they are willing to reduce their offer by $1 trillion if the White House meets them in the middle for a $2 trillion bill, but the White House has rejected that offer as a non-starter. So there you have it. The compromise at the moment is still not looking too good. The same issues that plagued it are still plaguing it. The Trump administration and the GOP are in favor of what Larry Kudlow has called targeted, sensible help, but are opposed to any government spending that they consider unnecessary. So just depending on which side of the political spectrum you are on, this could be good or bad. They're trying to cut down waste, but on the other hand, you could say, well, is it really waste? People need the help. Again, you can decide. I'm just giving you guys the facts. Alright, an extra $600 per week in federal benefits expired end of July and has been replaced by $300 per week federal benefit that Trump enacted via executive order after lawmakers were unable to agree on how to extend the original supplement. Alright, so people were getting $600 a week. It dropped to $300. I know some states were giving an extra $100, but that's kind of where things stand at the moment. Alright, let's continue on, see what else we got here. This is from MSN Money, which is a site I like to use. Stimulus check update, second payment still not in sight. Alright, so what's next? Here we go, guys. This is what I was saying earlier. Our best bet for getting a second stimulus check is likely late September or October. Not only is August almost done with, but the Senate is currently on recess until September 8th. Guys, these guys are on recess, remember? They're taking a break. They're working very hard and doing what they can to help us out, so they need a break. Which means we're most likely going to be getting a second relief bill approved after that date. And once I had showed you guys earlier, just because it gets passed doesn't mean that the next day we're going to have checks. It's going to take time to mail it out and process some of that stuff. So best case scenario, if we get another check, end of September, early October. That's what we have to look at the moment, how to cope without a stimulus check. There have various rental assistance programs. If you're struggling to buy groceries, you may be eligible for SNAP benefits. There's a whole bunch of programs that you potentially could apply for if you're having a difficult time making payments and all that good stuff. Links you can check out from MSN Money if you need those assistance. Alright, no progress today despite call between Pelosi and the White House. No progress was made during a 25-minute conversation Thursday between Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi and White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows Thursday afternoon in a phone call that many hoped would rekindle negotiations. Yeah, so these guys are still very far apart from getting any type of deal done. Democrats are willing to resume negotiations once Republicans start to take this process seriously. Nancy Pelosi said, lives, livelihoods, and the life of our democracy are at stake. So there you have it. Nancy is letting them know what's up. She's not holding back. This is from CNBC Politics. Democrats in the White House are at a tragic impasse on bug stimulus after Pelosi Meadows call. They had a 25-minute call. California Democrat and White House Chief of Staff. They spoke at length for the first time in weeks after aid talks collapsed. Republicans are considering a more narrow $500 billion proposal to address unemployment insurance and small business loan, among others. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Same thing. So this basically just confirms what I read in the article prior. The $600 per week. Pelosi pushes for broader approach to stimulus. Republicans are crafting a more narrow bill they can soon distribute in Congress. It looks like at the moment $500 billion is the number, which that would be a huge cut because that's not even the middle of what the Democrats were trying to do. That's less than $1 trillion. But like I said, it all just depends on the numbers, how much debt we got, how much debt we can take. I'm not an economist, I'm not a financial expert. Those are all things to consider with these types of packages. Also, inflation could potentially be creeping up on us anytime soon. GOP set to propose smaller bug bill, and this is a couple days ago. The key points: the Republicans want a more narrow bill. The roughly $500 billion proposal would include enhanced benefits, more help for small businesses, funding for schools, treatments and vaccines, but no direct payments to Americans. This is just my guess, but any type of package that's going to pass, they're probably going to have some type of payments. I'm just saying, it's an election year. They're probably going to make sure they at least do that to help get votes. But that's just me. That's just a prediction. Could be wrong. The bill is unlikely to become a law as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi pushed for at least $2 trillion in aid. Roughly $1 trillion proposal that existed. Democrats have compromised in these negotiations. We offered to come down $1 trillion if the White House would come up $1 trillion. We welcome the halfway mark. Meadows said she expects Pelosi to hold out until the end of September when Congress faces a deadline to avoid a government shutdown to try to get her desired relief provisions in a bill. So if things don't get passed, it looks like that's going to be the next possible solution. Or if Trump passes an executive order to distribute checks, I mean, if he can pass a $300 per week, or was it, yeah, $300 weekly benefit, and maybe he can pass the checks in the meanwhile until they can figure out a more broader bill. Again, I don't know if he can or can't, just a thought. Now let's transition here to the markets. How are the markets doing? I have been watching the markets, and they're going up, guys. It's pretty crazy. Now let's look at a 6-month chart here. As you can see, in mid-March when we got hit pretty hard, it's just kept going up and up and up. You got minor dips here and there, but for the most part, we're just going up. And at this point in time, I'm really not investing too heavy. Maybe a little bit I put back dividends I'm getting, but for me, this is kind of high. I might just wait for a day where something happens to kind of be more aggressive, but that's just my strategy. That's not financial advice. You got to figure out your own strategy and do what works for you and talk to an expert. Again, this is the Dow Jones. As you can see, March, it was at 18,000. That's crazy. Now it's at 28,000. We're in the green, guys, and we keep going up. Same thing. I'm going to take a step back and just wait this thing out before I go too aggressive. Now, you guys that are asking about what type of tools you can use, Seeking Alpha is a great site I like to use. This article I was reading earlier, this is a pretty nice article, 50 best S&P 500 stocks since February peak. And it just shows you guys a whole bunch of stocks that have been performing very well, as you can imagine. A lot of companies that you're probably familiar with. Clorox, of course, the wipes are sold out everywhere. Apple's been crushing it. Amazon's been crushing it. Just to name a few. Let's continue on here, and it shows you breakdown by sector. So you got energy, materials, real estate, utilities, consumer staples, industrials, financials, communication, consumer discretionary, healthcare, information, technology. And overall, it just gives you a lot of good information, guys. If you want to kind of get some more information, this would be a good place just to kind of get more understanding of where things are at the moment. And this is not sponsored. I'm not sponsored by Seeking Alpha, just a site I like to use. It might help you out. Quick summary though, S&P 500 has rebounded to an all-time high, but stock level dispersion is also quite high with meaningful laggards and strong outperformers. This leaders list is dominated by tech. Obviously, tech has been crushing it. We kind of figured that. And a list of stocks up nearly 40% on average. Yeah, a lot of those stocks have made a nice recovery. S&P closes as record as Fed embarks on easier monetary policy. S&P 500 on Thursday closed a record as Fed Chairman Jerome Powell outlines a new policy approach from the central bank. Jerome Powell said the central bank would seek inflation that averages 2% over time and adopted a new strategy that reflects the Fed's view that a robust job market can be sustained without causing an outbreak of inflation. All right, guys, so here's a good point. Inflation's about 2%, right? Now, when you put your money in a savings account, how much are they paying you? You don't know? Okay, I suggest you go check. Now, I used to have a brick and mortar bank I would go to, and they paid me 0.01%. It was a complete joke. Basically, you're losing money. Now, there was a point in time where online banks gave you about 1.5 to 2.25% when things were actually not too bad. Now, online banks that have savings accounts that I have seen pay less than 1% now. It's like 0.8%, 0.85, 0.80, and that's kind of where we're at the moment. So if you leave your money in a bank, you are essentially losing, which is why you need to get educated and learn more about what you can do to kind of fight this 2%, because you're losing 2%. That's why, for me, investing is the route that I went for dividend-paying stocks. On average, they've done a lot better than 2%, and that's kind of my hedge for this. Again, not investing advice, not financial advice. Do your own research. This is just something to think about, guys. If it's 2% inflation, your bank pays you less than 1%, you're losing money. Do something. That's all I'm trying to say. Just do something. Okay, let's continue on here. Era of easy money is here. Loosening up on target inflation ushers a new age of low rates for the foreseeable future. Yeah, housing market has been, the loans for that have been pretty low, the rates, from what people are telling me. Abbott Laboratories ended up 7.9% after its $5 rapid response to the bug antigen test received emergency authorization for use in the US and the FDA. Walmart, of course, as well, has been crushing it. Trump is expected to announce a $750 million deal to buy 150 million of the rapid test from Abbott, a move that would substantially expand the nation's capacity for rapid testing. So that could be something to keep an eye out for. They might be potentially a good return. S&P 500 airline stocks, crew stocks surge on Abbott Labs FDA approval. Federal Reserve policy change. A big change in the Fed's policy is good for stocks, while a 15-minute bug test is great for lots of businesses. So there you have it, guys. That's kind of where we are at. And let's see, Walmart and Microsoft up on TikTok deal proposed. That's definitely going to play a part into it. And Google and Facebook, Apple, Amazon, they've been crushing it. Obviously, Apple now worth $2 trillion. Unbelievable. Alright, S&P 500 stunning summer rally points to best in August since 1986. Here's the rally, as you guys can see. April up 12.7%, May up 4.5%, June up 1.8%, July up 5.5%, August so far up 6.6%. Yeah, from our lows in March, we have been climbing out of this thing, and who knows if we're going to have another correction or not, or if we're going to continue to climb. We're just going to have to wait and see. And I think that's all I want to cover this video. I don't want this to get too long. Wanted to get back into recording a video for you guys, and let me know in the comments below, with everything I just covered here, what are some of your predictions? Let's have some fun. Let's make some predictions in the comments. Let's engage. Let's be respectful of others' opinions and thoughts, and have a discussion. Alright, that's going to be the next video. As always, if you're not subscribed, don't subscribe. And if you liked the video, don't forget to give it a like. Until next time, peace.